folks, and welcome back to the shed. This week I've been preparing rough timber for the lathe. A couple of weeks back a friend gave me logs. He delivered them to the front driveway for me, and thanks very much Ian for that. So I've cut them up with the chainsaw, and they're now ready to come in here and be turned into bow blanks, spindle blanks, etc. But when I went over to get my circle cutting jig, I've not used it for about 5 months. I found it warped, obviously damp or something had got at it, and the hardwood runner underneath that fits into the mitre slot had all swollen up. So basically it was useless. So I've ended up having to make another one. I've done the normal thing. I went onto YouTube, I looked at as many circle cutting jigs as I could find, and I took it from there. So what I thought we'd do is I'll give you a look at the new jig that I've made, and we'll cut a couple of bowls into circles, a couple of blanks into circles, and if there's time, well, we'll hollow a couple out and prepare them for seasoning. So let's go over and make a start. So this is the simple circle cutting jig that I made. It's a piece of 3/4 inch ply on the bottom and 1/2 inch ply on the top, and it's glued and screwed, laminated together. The reason for the 1/2 inch on the top is to fit this T-track, is 1/2 inch T-track. It's just a piece that I cut off, and that fits exactly inside there. On the side of the T-track I put an hacksaw mark, an hacksaw cut, which lines up with the measuring marks. So if you want 5 inches, if you want 10 inches, you just set it to 5, you lock it up, put your piece on and turn it round. Quite a simple design, and I'm hoping that this one won't warp and twist. I give it all a coat of poly. Right, that's the adjusting knob there, and this here is aluminium T-rod which fits exactly into my T-track, so I'll have no more problems with the swelling in the damp weather. Just here is just a magnet I've sunk in, because I normally leave the right size drill there and I know where it is all the time. This runs along the side of my table, and this is the stop block, so as you slide it in, it hits that block and stops. So I'll put it on. Let's put it on and cut a little test piece. So we are now at the bandsaw, and this is the jig. It runs on the side rail and it stops against the stop block. I've got a scrap piece of plywood just to show you, and this is working out at 9 inches by just on 9 inches either side. So if we cut an 8-inch circle out of this, we will set this to 4 inches, which is just there. Right, we'll put that on and we can now spin that round. Now the guard on the bandsaw is quite high. I don't normally work with it that high. It's just so you can see it, the camera can see it coming in. Okay, so I'll cut this circle just to show you it working, and it'll get a little bit noisy. And there we have our 8-inch circle. So that works okay. So the next thing to do is to prepare some of this timber that I cut up with the chainsaw, and start cutting a couple of bowl blanks. Okay, so the bandsaw's set up, the jig is set. This has been measured and everything should be ready to go. There we have a nice blank. So now that we've finished at the bandsaw, this is my thing that I made for finding the faceplate centre. It's just a piece of wood, and I just keep the drill in there that I use for the centres. So what we do is we put this through the centre, fits exactly. We put this in. Now we have our true centre. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to drill a starter hole. That'll now hold this in centre. That's on the centre. I don't like to use an impact driver on these because they have an habit of snapping inside. So that's all I'll do. I'll now drill them out, each one, and put the Alden screws in, and we're ready for the to have it mounted. Okay, I'm quite happy now that that's safe. As I say, it's a heavy piece of wood. It's what is it here? It's 4.5 nearly on its narrowest side, and it's 6.25 on its longest side. And as I say, this is 12 inches across. So it's quite a big piece, but that should be very safe now on the lathe. So the next thing we do is we put it on the lathe and we start the shaping process. Well, I thought you'd just like to have a look at the wood that I've been cutting up today on the bandsaw. I've done about half a dozen bowl blanks and all these spindle blanks. I've got a nice piece here which to me says vase, that's a foot long, and there's plenty of various types of blanks to be going on with. These will be great when they're dry, but I am happiest with the bowl blanks. The circle cutting jig worked out great. It's not my idea, the circle cutting jig. I just went on YouTube and looked at as many as I could, and I come up with this one. So there's plenty of information on YouTube if anyone wants to make one. Right, what we're going to do is move on. I'm going to put this lot away into the woodshed, and we're going to take this piece, which is the one with the faceplate on, and we're going to just rough all of that one out. It's I've just put the gauge, the meter gauge on it. It's about 22% moisture level at the moment. So let's move on. Okay, so I've now got it firmly in the jaws, and I've actually been in and done my wife something to eat, and I've come back out. It's an hour later and it looks a lot better, so it may be that there is a bowl in there somewhere. I couldn't get a very good cut on it whatsoever with that spalton. I ended up scraping most of it. So I'm going to put a depth hole in now. I've put a mark on this 22mm drill bit, and I'm going to drill it in, and then I'm going to be taking a good ½ inch off this to avoid some checks that I've got around the edges. So we'll get started on this and see how this goes. So there's a depth hole right through now. I'm going to leave this about 1 inch thick all round. I can take the tailstock away for the time being. I'm down just before the line that I made, so I know I've got plenty to take off a little bit later. Well, that's down to about where we want it. It is very wet, this, and just get the gauges. I think it's the same all round now anyway, so oops. We'll have a look at that. I'll see what this is like and I'll come back and show you that later on. I've got a few more of these to turn, so I'll show you when I've finished. Okay, there's the bowl. It's 11 3/4 or something across. Yeah, it's got nice spalting in it, so hopefully we'll get a nice bowl out of this one. It's 1 inch thick all the way round, and it's just ready for seasoning now. When I actually had this on the lathe, that was 2 weeks ago, and I've just been very busy and I couldn't get into the workshop very much. When I had it on the lathe that particular day, I done on the bandsaw I cut 18 ball blanks, and I rough turned 10 of them like this, of various sizes, ready to go into the little shed for seasoning. But this is the one that we've seen on the lathe, and this is the one that we're going to be following over the next, well, until we turn it basically. This is not the way I normally do it. Not that I've done a lot of it anyway. Hollowing it out and storing it like this for seasoning, that is something that's new to me. This is just my interpretation of what I've seen other wood turners do on YouTube. The way I would normally have done it, I don't get a lot of wet wood at all. I just don't come across it. But the way I have done it in the past is I just seal the end grain up, and I use PVA, which is just white glue, and I seal it up, and I've just stored it in the little woodshed that I've got, and I leave it there for months, just until it's ready to turn. But interestingly enough, I've been taking the readings over the last 2 weeks on this, and in the 2 weeks this one has lost 1.8 on moisture level, and this big one, which has been hollowed out, has lost 4.6. Obviously this is drying a lot faster than that now, so it may warp. This may warp, and now I hope it doesn't crack, but it may warp. The other thing I've done was I've got a little oak blank, which is only 3 inches by 2. Not a particularly nice piece of wood, so I don't mind experimenting with it. And tomorrow I'm going to put that in the microwave, and I'm going to try this microwave drying. It's only what I've seen other people do, so I'll experiment with that as well. And we'll let you know as we go on. This one we will keep. Whatever projects I do over the next couple of months, and so I'll keep coming back to this and telling you the moisture level until we eventually get it turned into a bowl, hopefully. So that's about it then. I'll be back soon with another project, so thank you all very much for watching. Really appreciate it. Take care of yourselves. Until next time, bye for now.